Have you ever thought that being too kind in retirement is the reason you end up with regrets? But the truth is, if you want to protect your peace, your dignity, and your future, there are some things you must be unapologetically firm about, even if it means being seen as a little cruel. This video is for people in their 60s, 70s, or 80s who feel others expect too much, and it's starting to take away their joy. When your kids rely on you, relatives interfere, and society tells you to stay quiet, it's time to change that. Being kind doesn't mean being a pushover. And being loving doesn't mean being silent when something doesn't feel right. The sooner you learn how to protect your energy, your time, and your self-respect without apology, the better your retirement years will be. So today, we're going to talk about 7 specific things you must be a little ruthless about after 70. Not because you've turned bitter, but because you've grown wise. And sometimes wisdom looks like saying no, standing your ground, and choosing yourself without guilt. Let's get into it. Number 1, protecting your time. One of the first things you must be firm about in retirement is your time. It may sound simple, even selfish to some, but if you're not careful, your time will start disappearing, given away in little pieces to everyone but you. People will assume that because you're retired, you're free. Free to babysit, free to run errands, free to answer every phone call, free to do what they need when they want. But that's not freedom. That's just a different kind of schedule you didn't sign up for. Time in your 70s and 80s is more precious than ever before. Every hour you spend should be something you choose, not something you feel cornered into. That doesn't mean you stop helping others or saying yes. It just means you choose with intention. You don't owe your time to people simply because they're family, or because they've come to expect it. If someone's upset because you took a quiet morning to yourself, instead of watching their kids or running to the store with them, that's not your guilt to carry. Psychologically, this is about reclaiming control. When we don't actively choose how our time is spent, we can end up feeling invisible, like a background character in someone else's life. And that's when the resentment starts to build. You say yes to avoid conflict, but inside you're worn down, tired, quietly wishing someone would notice how much of your life you've handed over. A friend of mine, Walter, he's 78, used to feel guilty, saying no when his daughter would ask him to come over 3, sometimes 4 times a week to help with the grandkids. He loved them, of course, but after a while he realized he wasn't enjoying it anymore. He was tired. He missed his morning walks, his peace. The day he told his daughter, "I'll help twice a week, but the rest of my time is mine," something changed. At first, she didn't love it, but over time she understood. And Walter? He finally started to feel like his life was his again. Being cruel in this context doesn't mean being cold. It means being clear. Clear about your limits. Clear about what fills you up instead of drains you. And most importantly, clear about the fact that your time, especially now, is not an open buffet for everyone else to take from. Number 2, guarding your finances. If there's one area where you absolutely must be firm, almost to the point of being unshakable, it's your money. Retirement is not the time to play the generous banker for everyone who knocks on your door. You worked for decades. That money isn't extra just because you're no longer earning it. It's your safety, your independence. And too many seniors lose that because they couldn't say one very hard word no. There's a quiet pressure in families. A grown child asks for help with rent. A relative wants a loan for a business. A grandchild is applying to an expensive college. And it starts off small, reasonable even. But before you know it, you've drained more than you meant to. Not because you were careless, but because you were kind. And kindness without boundaries can cost you more than money. It can cost you peace, dignity, and the ability to make your own choices. There's a reason financial abuse is one of the most common types of elder abuse. Often, it doesn't even look like abuse. It looks like, "Ray, can you just help me this once? Or I'll pay you back next month." Or even, "You're not using it anyway." But behind those words is an erosion of your stability. You're not being mean when you protect your savings. You're being wise. I remember Marlene, 74, lovely woman, full of warmth. She used to tell me she just wanted to help her kids get on their feet. She gave and gave and gave until the day she needed a roof repair and didn't have enough in her emergency fund. Her kids didn't ignore her, but they didn't have the means to help either. And that's when the guilt set in. Not toward them, toward herself. Because deep down, she knew she should have drawn the line earlier. This is your life, your legacy, your lifeline. Don't let guilt trick you into thinking that saying no to someone else is saying no to love. The people who truly care about you will understand when you set boundaries. And if they don't, that says more about them than it does about you. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, saying no to unwanted obligations. One of the most overlooked freedoms of retirement is this: you don't have to do anything just to please someone else anymore. Not every invitation, not every favor, not every family gathering or weekly errand deserves your automatic yes. And yet many older folks keep saying yes out of habit, afraid they'll disappoint someone or be seen as selfish. But the truth is, continuing to say yes when you mean no is one of the biggest regrets people carry quietly into their 80s and 90s. After a lifetime of being dependable, responsible, helpful, it's hard to step back and put yourself first. But here's the truth. Retirement is not selfish time, it's self-respect time. You're not being cold if you say, "I'm not up for that today." You're being honest. That's a muscle many of us didn't learn to flex until much too late. I once knew a man named Walter, 78, who spent every Saturday driving his daughter's kids to sports practice. He loved them deeply, but you could see how tired he was. He never rested on weekends, never said no. When he finally told her he wanted his Saturdays back, she was surprised, but she didn't get angry. She actually said, "I thought you liked it. I never knew you felt obligated." That's the thing, people can't honor your boundaries if you don't show them where they are. Protecting your energy is not a betrayal, it's an act of wisdom. You don't owe anyone explanations for choosing peace, quiet, or a little time to yourself. You've done your part. You've earned the right to pick your moments now. And if someone thinks less of you for finally honoring your limits, maybe they've just gotten too used to you putting yourself last. That's not love. That's expectation. You have a right to decide how your days are spent, who you give your energy to, and what truly matters to you now. Time is more precious than gold after 70. Don't waste it proving yourself to people who've already had more of you than they remember to be thankful for. Number 4, cutting off guilt-based spending. There's a quiet trap many retirees fall into, spending money not because they want to, but because they feel guilty if they don't. Guilt makes people buy things they wouldn't otherwise choose. It convinces parents to keep giving money to grown children who aren't truly in need. It pushes grandparents to cover bills, pay for trips, or constantly pick up tabs, not out of joy, but out of a deep fear of looking stingy or unloving. But here's what most people don't say. Constantly giving out of guilt slowly empties more than just your wallet. It drains your sense of freedom too. You start holding back from your own joy. You stop planning for the future. You begin to see your savings not as something you've earned, but as something everyone else is quietly watching and calculating. I once knew a woman named Helen, 75, who kept bailing her 45-year-old son out of credit card debt. She said, "Well, I can't say no. He's my son." But over time, she started skipping her own dental appointments. She stopped going to the gym she liked because she said it was too expensive now. What she didn't realize was this: every time she paid his way, she was quietly taking something from herself. Retirement doesn't mean becoming a human bank. It means finally having time and space to enjoy what you've worked for. If your money isn't bringing you peace, then it's not being used right. Generosity is beautiful, but only when it's rooted in joy, not guilt. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, saying no to unwanted social obligations. After retirement, many people assume you've got endless free time. So they start calling church groups, neighborhood committees, family get-togethers, volunteering requests, and at first it feels nice to be needed. But very quickly, it can turn into something else. A calendar full of things you never asked for and barely enjoy. This is where kindness gets mistaken for availability. Just because you're retired doesn't mean your time is up for grabs. Your time is still yours. And if you say yes to everything, you'll soon find you've accidentally rebuilt the same kind of stress you thought you left behind when you stopped working. I remember Harold, a 78-year-old neighbor who used to say yes to every potluck, cleanup crew, and church event. "I don't want to disappoint anyone," he'd say. But then he started skipping his morning walks. He didn't have time to read like he used to. Eventually, his doctor told him he needed to cut back, not on food or alcohol, but on obligations. Here's the truth. You don't need to justify your time to anyone. If you want to spend a whole afternoon in the garden or just sitting by the window with coffee in hand, that's not selfish. That's self-preservation. Retirement isn't a second shift. It's your time to live on your terms. When you protect your peace, you protect your health, your energy, and your joy. Let people adjust to the new you, one that sets boundaries with love, not guilt. Number 6, guarding your private finances. Money is one of the easiest ways to lose peace in retirement, especially when others start treating your finances like a shared family resource. It might start small. A child who's just a little short this month, a grandchild who wants help with tuition, or a sibling who asks, "You don't mind, do you?" But over time, your generosity can turn into expectation. It's hard, I know, especially when it's people you love. But here's what I've seen over and over again. Retirees who quietly drain their savings to meet other people's needs, only to find themselves short on healthcare, basic living expenses, or even funeral costs later. And nobody remembers how it all started except you. There's nothing wrong with helping, but help should come from overflow, not from your foundation. You've worked your whole life for this. Your pension, your savings, your home equity, that's not family money. That's your safety net. It's your freedom. You don't owe anyone a line-by-line breakdown of your accounts. And you don't need to answer every question about how much you have saved or what's left in your fund. If someone's asking in ways that make you feel uneasy, that's already a sign you need stronger boundaries. When you draw a firm line around your finances, you're not being cruel. You're being wise. You're making sure that the person who took care of everyone else all those years, you, doesn't end up overlooked in the end. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 7, refusing to apologize for wanting peace. One of the hardest parts of retirement isn't the quiet, it's how others react to it. People expect you to stay available, to say yes to everything, to attend every gathering, to listen, support, give, smile, and never push back. But what if you just want peace? What if the drama, the noise, the constant demands, they no longer fit the life you want? Somewhere along the way, we were taught that saying no is selfish, that stepping away from the noise means we're cold or distant. But that's not true. It takes strength to choose peace. It takes courage to say, this is what I need right now, and I don't have to explain it to anyone. You're not here to be everyone's therapist, banker, babysitter, or backup plan. You're not here to be the emotional sponge that soaks up the weight of everyone else's struggles. You've lived long enough to know that people-pleasing often comes at the cost of your health, your sleep, your nerves, your dignity. At 70, 75, or 80, you have the full right to protect your energy, to spend your mornings quietly, to end a phone call early, to skip a dinner you don't feel up for, to read a book, take a walk, or simply sit with your thoughts without being interrupted or judged. And if someone tries to make you feel guilty for it, let them. You don't owe guilt for wanting peace. In fact, the older you get, the more you realize that peace isn't a luxury. It's a need. It's how you stay well, how you stay kind, how you stay alive, not just breathing, but living. This kind of cruelty isn't cruelty at all. It's the quiet bravery of choosing your own life again. And there's nothing to regret about that. Final thoughts. A lot of people think retirement is the finish line, that once you stop working, life becomes soft and easy. But the truth is, retirement brings its own challenges. And if you're not careful, you'll end up living for everyone else except yourself. That's why being a little cruel isn't about hurting others. It's about finally standing up for yourself. It's about drawing lines around your time, your money, your heart, and your peace, so that what's left of your life is lived with dignity, not depletion. Which of these 7 boundaries hit home for you the most? Is there one area where you know it's time to be a little more direct, a little more protective? Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.